Hello. All right. This is the video that is going to reintroduce my YouTube channel for daily metagame. For those of you that played the WoW TCG, daily metagame was a decently sized part of the community. We had a web page, which I still have up now, but it's a little bit buggy because I put Google AdSense on it and something has taken it over. So for now, I'm going to concentrate on the YouTube channel. I've been looking for a game that I can actually stream and do videos with, and Warhammer Champions is amazing. If you guys haven't checked it out, you need to. I'll be posting a ton of videos this week. Daily metagame is actually going to be daily this time. It's super easy to make these videos, and I'm super excited about the game, so it's going to be fun. The format that I'm going to do is, the way I've been playing is there are 4 grand alliances in the game, and I built decks for each alliance, and I've been leveling them 5 levels at a time, so I get a lot of games in with each alliance and each deck. And I just started recording the games last week to make this video series, and the first deck I'm going to do is going to be Chaos, and we've made a deck called Red Deck Wins. It plays very much like Red Burn or Red Deck Wins in Magic the Gathering. It's super aggressive, a lot of burn, and just puts out high damage output. There were a couple games about the deck origin. It's based a little bit on 2 different decks from Trip Allen. You guys might remember Trip if you played WoW. He made a 4-corner deck using Bloodthirster, which I'll show you in a minute. I'll show you all these guys, and Valkia. And Bloodthirster pumps the 4th corner damage on units, and Valkia will rotate those units forward and also give them +1 to that corner. So, and then there's another champion that will give +2 to the 4th corner. So he had that guy in the middle, and the deck was super fast and super great. But probably the better deck is Jonathan Vandermeer's Speed Quest deck, and it plays Bloodthirster with 2 Blood Reaver chieftains on the side. And all 3 of those are super fast to complete the quests and flip the blessings. So it speeds through the blessings, and the Chaos blessings are really good and do a lot of damage, and you win games. So I kind of combined those 2, and I took out the 4th corner guy champion, and I put in the Blood Reaver chieftain. So let me start showing you the deck. And I think I can just hit this. Nope. Alright. So the first champion is just the one cost Chaos champion. He's basically a dead lane. He's just kind of your last ditch effort lane to do anything with. The deck is really built around 3 lanes. It's its strength and its weakness. It becomes really weak to order because I'm concentrating all my damage through 1 lane, so it may be more of a fun deck than a competitive deck, but it is Red Deck Wins, and you can steal wins against some of the bigger decks. So this guy, a little hard to quest. You're going to have to do it with 3 different units. Basically, it takes 4 cards to quest this guy, and so he's super hard. He's just there to fill out the fourth lane. We'll move on to the next guy. Blood Reaver Chieftain. This is what I was talking about from John's deck. This guy is easy to quest. You can do it with 3 cards, and you can do it pretty quickly, especially with Valkia, because she's going to be spinning his units to get them in and out as quick as possible. First one is a unit, next one is a damage. So usually you can get the first 2 corners with 1 card, and then the 3rd corner you can get with another unit, and then the last one will be done with a burn spell, usually an ability or removal. He's in between the next 2 champions, which will be Bloodthirster and Valkia. Here is Bloodthirster. He's actually usually takes 4 cards. Yeah, it takes 4 cards to spin him, but he can do it decently fast. He does it much faster in the Speed Quest deck. Not as fast in this deck, but he can do it. First one is damage. I'll usually use Demonic Fury ability to burn them out and then drop a unit, so I can get the first 2 done in 1 turn, but it takes 2 cards. and then another ability, and then a demon to flip him. The main thing he's doing in here is he's increasing the damage done from highlighted units on their last corner. So no matter what their last corner is, it's getting +1. A key to this is that if that unit has last stand and does last stand damage and it's on its last corner when it is removed, it will pump that as well, so it'll do 3 damage. And that's kind of what this deck is built around. And the last one is my girl, Valkia the Bloody. My favorite champions are the champions that can spin units, that can rotate them forward if you can, or backwards. There are 2 resources in this game, basically actions. You get 2 actions per turn, and time. Time is the other resource. Cards come into play, and they have multiple corners, and if you have a 4-corner card, it's going to take 4 turns for it to do its thing, to deal all its damage. Time, you have to think of time as a cost in this game. And Valkia and cards like Loudmouth Recruit or Loudmouth Boss, Loudmouth Mega Boss, are cards that bypass that resource and get the units in, get their damage done, get them out fast to get more units in. Speed. This deck is speedy and speed kills. So yes, her heroic act, rotate a non-demon unit 1 step forwards. If this triggers damage, increase it by 1. So her and Bloodthirster are going to be increasing the units that go into the Chieftain's lanes. There will be some support cards that she deploys, support units that she deploys to help pump damage, and same with Bloodthirster. I'll show you those. For her questing, the hardest corner, of course, is the remove, but this deck is actually built around that to take advantage of the last stand. It's got 6 remove guys, and then of course it's got the Blood Hunt. If you remove your opponent's card with it, it'll complete that corner. Once you get past that, damage unit is super quick, so she can spin pretty quickly. There's the 1 card in here, when we get to the units, I'll tell you about him, I'll remove a unit with it, and then he's got 3 damage corners, so he'll actually complete 3 corners with 1 card, and then I just need to place 1 unit. So when she can spin just as quick as Chieftain, if not quicker. Alright. Let's move on to the blessings. Chaos Runeblade. So this one feels a little slow in the deck. I'm open to swapping it out, but 16 damage on 1 card is a bit hard to pass up. Usually by the time this pops, I've got them quite a bit down on damage, and there's nothing they can do to stop it other than damage prevention. But so it's too hard to pass up. 3 damage, 4 damage, 4. It's just a huge clock. The downside is that it costs time and it costs actions. It takes 4 turns and 4 actions. So it's a bit expensive, but it's got a big punch. Next cards, we've got, I play the 2 4 damage cards. This one, as soon as it pops, it's instant, 4 damage to your opponent, remove highlighted spells, which is all their spells, and deal an additional hit of 2 damage for each spell that was removed. I'm not playing it for the spell removal. The spells usually aren't that scary for this deck. It's just a bonus if it gets them, and the bonus isn't that it removes them, it's that it does more damage. I'm playing this basically just for the instant 4 damage. It's red deck wins, so you're going to be knocking their life down with your units and your burn cards. This is basically like the Fire Blast, if you remember Fire Blast from Magic. You know, sacrifice 2 mountains, deal 4 to the face. That's kind of what this card is doing. It's just a finisher, or just more of the clock. This is the other 4 damage instant. As soon as it flips, 4 damage to your opponent. This one is much more relevant in its removal because it removes highlighted units. They're much more likely to have units, so this one does come into play. It just does the 3 lanes, so it can just do 2 if it's on the corner, or 3 if it's in one of the middle 2 lanes. Again, just a Fire Blast to the face. And then probably the most broken blessing Chaos has, Unrivaled Battle Lust. So doesn't do anything when it comes into play. That usually turns me off from blessings. I want to get their effect as fast as possible, but the next 3 corners, again, we're spending time as a resource, is much too good to pass up. The timing, it puts you on a clock to get the damage in just as much as it puts your opponent on a clock to try and put your opponent on a clock. So giving all of your allies, so all allies, so no matter what it is, whether it's if I flip another blessing, if I play an ability, if I use the chieftain's heroic act, remember he's got, I didn't talk about it, but he's got a heroic act that I can just deal 1 damage. If this is up and it's on the 3 corner, it'll give +3 to that. He'll do 4 damage. This is just insane pumping. It does 1 damage to yourself, so you're going to take 3 damage over the next 3 turns, but the benefit is just too huge. I noticed when I was playing Chaos, when they flipped this blessing, it was pretty much game over. There wasn't anything I was going to be able to do to keep up. So this is the blessing that we're hoping to flip and win with. All right, on to the actions. The obligatory blood hunt. All right, every alliance has its removal card. I'm kind of disappointed in that. I'm a deck builder. I like being able to pick which cards go on my deck, and the designers have basically picked everyone's 3 cards with these cards. You have to play these cards. What they did do right is they gave each of them their own flavor. This one's probably my least favorite, the gain 1 health. I'm just not that excited about that in Chaos. I guess because you do a lot of self-damage, gaining 1 health is relevant. But other cards like Triumphant Smash have much more relevant abilities, and actually sometimes you play them more for that ability than for the removal. This one is just straight up removal. Generic removal for spell or units. As I said, I think flavors, the powers that are flavors should be divided up, and that every alliance has this card. It's a little generic. But I can live with it. Like I said, the flavor of the other ones makes up for it a bit. Alright, starting to get into the burn. Opportunity Strike. This card, if you don't like it, you can probably change it out. It's mainly just for completing quests. I'm playing 3 copies. If you get it in your opening hand, and you're going first, or just the opportunity's there for it to do 5 damage, it's amazing. If not, it's really just there to spin corners, and if we get the blessing that pumps it by 3, it'll do so much more damage. Just basic burn. That's all this is. Just a shock to the face. Next card, Furious Strike. This is a big hitter. Usually played, because I'm concentrating on 1 lane throughout the game, I will only be playing 1 to 2 units at a time, so it's great in your opening hand, and it's great mid-game, because there are a lot of times that I will take a pause for my guys to leave play and draw a couple cards, but while I'm doing that I can play a Furious Strike. It's also to complete quest corners, and most of the time it's at least 4 or 5 to the face. And then the card that is always guaranteed to be 5 to the face, Demonic Fury. Can only be played in Bloodthirster's lane. Not too much of a drawback. If they put their prevention guys in that lane, then it's a little sad face. But still, taking 2 damage to deal 5 damage to them is always worth it. Red deck wins. Just damage, damage, damage. Alright. We're going to start with the support guys first. Blood Warrior Berserker. This guy, I think most of the factions have kind of a banner carrier that pump or prevent or protect or are kind of like your support units. This guy is amazing. He doesn't do anything when he comes into play, but on his corners 2 and 3, he'll deal 1 and 2 damage. But the big thing is increasing the damage to your opponent from highlighted units. So he'll deal 1, and then he's going to pump any neighboring unit by 1, and then deal 2, and then pump the neighboring units by 2. I also use him to fish out removal quite a bit. If he sticks, better for me. If they remove him, that's fine too, because my big damage dealers are the other guys. So if they remove this guy, I'm happy. And in the games that will follow in the series, you'll see me use them as kind of bait to bait out the removal. The next is, I think, Flesh Hounds. Starving Flesh Hounds, 3 copies. Alright, this guy, he's your demon to complete Bloodthirster's 4th corner, but you don't have to hold him to wait. You want to get him out there as soon as possible. He's going to be 2, 4, 6 damage to them usually. He's kind of like the Berserker. He's just there to pump damage from your opponent, from your other units. So, just great all around. You can put 2 beside each other, and then they'll start feeding off each other, because one will do 1 damage to you, but because it dealt damage, it'll make the other one deal 2. Then that one will deal damage to you, which will pop the other one. It's kind of fun. These are also great to use with the Berserkers as well, because the Berserker will deal 1 damage, then it'll trigger this guy to deal his 2, but then the Berserker will pump this one's damage. Just lots of fun little combos with these guys. Next, I think we'll get into... These are the guys, the next 2 guys I'm targeting with Valkia. This guy I'm putting into the Chieftain's Lane, comes into play and deals 1 damage. So the biggest cost to this guy, besides the 2 damage that he deals to you, is 4 turns, and Valkia gets around that. So the timing with this guy is you drop him and spin him with Valkia, and that's going to do 3 plus her 1 damage is 4. If you got the Berserker or the Flesh Hounds, it's going to add 1 or 2 to it. The next turn, since he's already in play, he's going to spin, deal you 1 damage, and then you're going to hit him with Valkia again. And with Bloodthirster, he's going to do 3 plus 1 from Valkia, plus 1 on his 4th corner from Bloodthirster. So he's going to do 5. And that means that he's going to do 9 damage before he leaves play. He's going to do that 9 damage in 2 turns. So we're using Valkia to bypass the time and get this guy in and out in 2 turns. Clear the lane, get somebody else in there. Oh, also, the Last Stand. 2 damage to your opponent. So I have 2 units, 3 copies each, 6 guys that can remove my own units, and I will use them when this guy's on his last corner. So the timing works out great for this guy. You play him and use Valkia on the first turn. Then you use Valkia, you've got 1 action left, you use one of the remove guys, that will remove him, deal 2 damage to your opponent, and because it's the last corner, Bloodthirster will pump that, so that'll be 3 more damage. This guy will do 9 damage plus 3, so he'll do 12 damage in 2 turns if you have the removal guy. Alright. Going on to the next card. Next card is very similar. Whoa, close him out. Gore Slick Skull Reaper. So the timing on him is a little bit different. Go ahead and drop him, and then you have that turn to play another action because you don't need to spin him yet. He is rend damage, so I get a lot of people that will play Prevention into this lane, and this guy will get around it. So he's going to deal 1 when he comes into play, and then you have the other action to do something else. You can play Flesh Hounds, you can play Berserker, you can draw a card, you can play abilities. His timing is a little bit different because he's 3 corners instead of 4. So drop him, do something else. Next turn, he'll flip to his blank corner, his null corner, and then you'll spin him with Valkia. Then that'll give his 3rd corner +1 from Valkia and +1 from Bloodthirster. So he's going to hit for 5. And then same thing, if you got a removal guy, you play him, he'll do 2 +1 from Bloodthirster for his Last Stand damage. So those are the 2 guys that we're targeting to spin. So this deck is very focused. It's its strength and its weakness. When they leave us to do what we want, it's going to do it, but it is easy to interrupt. This deck has a hard time with order because of the damage prevention, especially Protector Primes. They put that in the lane, and they're taking away all those damage bonuses that you're going for. All right, Insatiable Blood Reaver. Moving on to the guys that remove cards. This is one of them. He facilitates Valkia's first corner, and he makes the Last Stand damage happen. So you'll pop him down, remove your Last Stand guy, do the damage, and the next turn he's going to deal 3, heal 2. Worst case scenario with this guy is sometimes you can just drop him into Chieftain's Lane, and spin him right away with Valkia. If you got no other units in play, it's no big deal. Drop him, spin him with Valkia. He's going to get 3 + 1 from Valkia, +1 from Bloodthirster, and he's going to do 5 and heal 2. So worst case scenario, he just deals 5 to the face, and that's math we can all live with, especially in red deck wins. Next card, the other removal guy, Rampaging Blood Reavers. So just like Blood Reaver, this guy will remove. He'll facilitate Valkyria's first removal corner. And he'll also, this is the card that will spin 3 corners on Valkyria if left unchecked. He'll do the removal, and then the next 2 turns he's going to do 1 damage and 1 damage. And when he does, he will complete the 2 damage quarters on Valkyria. A bonus to this guy is that if Valkyria, if you ever get to use a Blood Hunt while this guy's in play and remove it, or the unit is just on its last legs, and even if it's removed on its own, when it leaves play, it'll restart this guy. I'll take bonus damage all day long. So he's not doing a lot of damage on his own. He's more facilitating the removal aspect and corner questing. Alright. And I think that's it for this deck. So the way that this series is going to work, we'll put it here. The way that this series is going to work, I'm going to label and playlist these decks into one list, and I'm going to alternate them so that you don't get burnt out on one. Following this video will be 4 or 5 gameplay videos, and if I keep playing it or I change decks, I'll change decks and give you a new deck list. The next 4 or 5 games that I have with this deck are pretty much just playing this list. I don't make any changes. If I do make changes, I'll point those out before I play, but this is the deck that I'm going to be playing this week for this series. Alright, hope you guys enjoy. Be sure to check out my playmats. I've designed them myself. They're on Inked Gaming. Check out Queen City Gaming. Matt, great guy to buy singles and booster boxes from. And the deck list is down in the description. Be sure to check it out. It's a link, you can click on it, it'll take you to the database, and if you do it on your mobile, it'll have a button to open the deck in app, so you can actually see it in app, and if you have the cards, you can play it. Alright everybody, thanks for watching.
Thank you.